Namo, 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 Namo. Good morning. Welcome to Kahului Hongwanji's weekly online service. Today we have a very special service for you. This is our O-Higan observance as well as our family gratitude observance. Today is September 27th, 2020. First of all, O-Higan is a time during which we reflect upon the profound harmony and oneness inherent in the universe, a harmony that is apparent when we are able to see beyond our limited and self-centered attitudes. Today we also observe family gratitude. This is our opportunity to express gratitude to all of our departed family members and friends who have a special memorial remembrance during this month of September, or anyone else that you wish to remember. Today's service will be more or less what you've been used to with our YouTube services. We will be having the Vandana and Tisarana, and then for the O-Higan and family gratitude, we will have an aspiration. Following that, we'll have our sutra chanting. Today we'll be chanting Juni Rai, or in English, the English version, which is called 12 Homages. For those of you if you have the service book, you can find it in there and you can chant along with at home. After that, we will have the Dharma Message. Now this will be a little bit different because today, that is, depending on when you watch this video, but September 27th, we are actually having an in-person service in our temple. Very sort of an experiment to see how we can get back into having that or whether it's going to be safe and possible. So it's a kind of very limited number of people that are going to be attending that. And of course with all the COVID restrictions and everything. But anyway, we will be recording the sermon, the Dharma Message only, and then I will quickly edit that into this video, and so you'll be able to sort of share in that experience, even though we can't do it a live stream. It's just proved to be too difficult to get technically for us to get it to work right. But we are going to just be able to do this regular YouTube video, but it'll have inserted in there the sermon or Dharma Message from the in-person service that take place on this day, actual day. That's why, for those of you who are wondering, didn't already know, that's why this YouTube is being uploaded, YouTube video is being uploaded a little bit late today. So we can kind of edit all that in there at the last minute. So following the Dharma Message, we'll have the Golden Chain of Love, and then the Shinshu Pledge, recitation of the Shinshu Pledge. We're doing that a little bit different this week instead of the metta. And then we'll have the Nembutsu, the closing Nembutsu, and then some words at the end. Okay? So thank you very much. It's wonderful that we can all be together one way or the other, even if it's only through this, this technological medium. But we'll do the best we can and keep working toward a time when we can be together again in person. So thank you very much, and let's just put our hands together in Gasho and recite the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo supremely awakened one. Bhutang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. We gather for this autumn O-Higan service in the spirit of harmony and oneness, and aspire that our minds and hearts be always guided by compassion. O-Higan is a time of reflecting on the true balance and harmony of all things, a time to aspire to cross over to the world of true reality through the Bodhisattva path which is fulfilled for us in the working of Amida's vow. Through the example of the 6 paramitas, may we always be quick to help and sympathize with others, and to be slow to make judgments or cause harm. In this way, may the light of Amida shine through us and illumine the minds of all beings. Today we also observe our family gratitude remembrance, a time to remember our loved ones who have passed away, particularly those whose memorials are observed in this month of September. In appreciation of them, let us reflect on the transience, the uncertainty, and the impermanence of our existence, so that we may awaken to realize the true significance of our living. In deepest gratitude for the many blessings bestowed upon us, let us repeat the name which is true reality itself, boundless light, measureless life. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Gods and men all bow in awe to Amida the revered, in Buddha's wondrous pure land. Bodhisattvas gather round, golden form like the mountain king, steadfast like the elephant's pace, Buddha's eyes like the blue lotus. Thus I bow to Amida, Buddha's form round like the moon, bright like 1,000 suns and moons, Buddha's voice like the nightingale. Thus I bow to Amida, Buddha's figure on Kanon's crown, adorned with wondrous features. Buddha subdues evilness. Thus I bow to Amida, beyond compare Amida's pure, virtue shining clear like space, all benefit from Buddha. Thus I bow to Amida, Bodhisattvas all renown, Maras to praise Amida, primal vow made for our sake. Thus I bow to Amida, golden ponds where lotus bloom, towers a throne of goodness. Buddha lives like the mountain king. Thus I bow to Amida, Bodhisattvas come afar, attaining true happiness. They revere the Buddha's face. Thus I bow to Amida. All life changes like the dew. We have no permanent self. Buddha teaches this law to all. Thus I bow to Amida. No evil in the Pure Land, and no fear of evil paths. Faithful hearts honor Buddha. Thus I bow to Amida, saving us through many ways. No tempters, no evil friends. Birth leads to enlightenment. Thus I bow to Amida. Amida, thus I have praised virtues boundless like the sea. These virtues shared with others for birth into the Pure Land. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda Butsu. Golden chain of love. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. At this time, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will be going to the live in-person service that we had this morning, September 27th, for O-Higan in the church with a select number of people, but we did have an actual church service. And I at that time, I gave my Dharma message from here, and so we recorded that. So we are going to edit that Dharma message into our YouTube service today. You'll notice that we have a plexiglass kind of shell put around the podium, so also for COVID-19 protection, to keep me from sending germs to the people in the congregation, and I guess vice versa, but mainly so that we can kind of protect everyone, and so that I can deliver the Dharma message without wearing a mask, which is kind of, makes everything muffled, So please enjoy the Dharma message at this time. Thank you. Let's begin by putting our hands in our shoulders, reciting the members. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Well, welcome everyone. So everyone who's come into the church here, into the temple for the first time in months and months for our Sunday service. And we're also recording this Dharma message, and we're going to edit it into the usual weekly YouTube video. So we'll be kind of, join together the YouTube viewers, the people who are still have to stay at home, and also all of you here today. So we're all kind of joined together into one sangha, one family. So it's so different to be speaking to real people again instead of just to my phone, which I've been doing for so long, making the YouTube videos. But at the same time, it's just natural, right? Even though it's been a long time, it feels good to be back, doesn't it? Good to be back together in the church. Even though we have to be all separate, all wearing these crazy things. So I think with the booth, I can take this off so you can hear me better. Is that okay? Yeah. I think that was the purpose of having the booth, having the plexiglass screen here. So I just want to share a little bit about O-Higan with you and some kind of reflections of our life today. So O-Higan, takes place twice a year. It's equinox. It's the spring and fall. This is fall equinox, fall O-Higan, and it's a time that when we reflect on oneness and harmony, that's demonstrated in nature by the fact that the nighttime and daytime hours are equal, right? That's what happens at the beginning of fall and the beginning of spring. So during the winter, the days are short, and if you come from other places, not here, days and nights are cold, but especially the nights, right? Long, cold nights. And then during the summer, the days get longer and the nights get shorter. But at the beginning of our fall course, spring and fall and spring, the days and nights are of equal length, and this equality reminds us of the harmony inherent in nature. No matter how long and cold winter is, eventually the nights get shorter, the days get longer, it gets warmer, and so on. And then no matter how hot and oppressive summer gets, eventually the days get shorter and it gets cooler, and so on. So nature is always renewing itself, right? It's always that cycle, and we call it harmony, right? It's different, but it's ultimately all oneness and all for good. And then of course in Buddhism, harmony, the idea of harmony and the idea of oneness are central, right? That's a central, you know that, right? So that's important because that's what Buddhism is. It's really the oneness of life. That's what Buddhism really teaches more than anything else. Everything can be boiled down to that. The oneness of life, the interdependence of all things, which also means change. If everything is interdependent, we all work together, need each other, rely on each other, all living things, all things, then that also means, right, that things change, and that's impermanence. So interdependence, impermanence, two sides of the same coin. So we have this O-Higan to observe this and be mindful of the harmony, which is the true reality of things. So the word Higan itself, it means other shore or crossing over, okay? Other shore means literally. And that's a way of speaking about reality, the reality of life that's beyond our power really to articulate, to talk about, or to understand fully. It's said that we aspire to cross over to the other shore. That's what the 6 paramitas, we've talked about those before. The 6 paramitas, they often say perfection, but actually it's 6 ways, 6 means of crossing over. And that is to cross over to the other shore. That refers to the awakening, right? The enlightenment, the Buddha, the mind of pure compassion, of pure oneness that we awaken to. And in order to transcend what the world is suffering, which is the cycle of dissatisfaction and stress and unhappiness that we live in. We call it samsara, we call it birth and death. Our life is filled with unhappiness and stress, and we're never satisfied, right? That's the problem. That's the first thing the Buddha said. This is a problem. Life is a problem because we're never satisfied. It's always up and down, up and down. When we're up, we wish we were, it's not good enough. When we're down, we want to be up again. That's our problem in life. And we can't, and Buddha said it's because we're attached. We can't see things clearly. We don't know what we really got. We don't know the value of what we really have each moment of living. So we have to come back to the moment of life that we're actually living. That's what Buddhist practice is, to come back to the now. Not to the fantasy of what life should be, but to the now of what it really is. So, in Buddha taught that we mistake our selfishness, our selfish desires, and our goals that we have for what's real. We think this is real. I want to get that new car. That's real. Or how come I don't have enough money for this? Or how come I have this problem or that problem? That's the most real thing to us all the time. Which, of course, it is real. Our problems in life are not to be dismissed, but we just have to have a different view of them. So we need to have a view of life that allows us to see our individual problems and the problems of others, and along with the blessing of life, the blessing of each moment of life that we're always receiving. So during the O-Higan time, spring and fall, we have this opportunity to reflect on the harmony of life. And we need to learn this, especially the to be realized, to be aware of the disharmony we create in the world and in ourselves and our families and so on by our manner of living when we are dominated by desires for just simply our own benefit, like the desire for wealth or status or power, but power over others, that's what power really is. So it's not only that I need to overcome my own unhappiness, my own dissatisfaction or stress or whatever we call it. Because I am this foolish person who doesn't see things clearly, as Shinran taught us, I'm always creating more dissatisfaction and unhappiness for everybody else too. It's not just myself, right? When I'm unhappy, I make others unhappy. So even though we may think we have to just, Buddhism is about improving my own life, it's not. Our intention of following the Buddhist path should be for the happiness of all beings. That's what Amida's vow is. Right? That's what Mahayana Buddhism teaches, that we seek enlightenment so that we can save everyone. And that's what Amida Buddha represents. Yeah. Most of the disharmony we create in life, I think, Jodo Shinshu, or Jodo Shinshu teaching, reminds us that it comes from the lack of gratitude, lack of appreciation, doesn't it? For the wonderful joy that life always offers us. Most people, I think, unfortunately, don't appreciate life very much. When you appreciate life, you do take it one day at a time, one moment at a time, right? A person of gratitude does not believe that more is better, right? And a person of gratitude doesn't worship success or winning, doesn't care about winning or success. If you have studied the writings of Shinran, you know that one of the things he warned his Dharma friends about was having what he called a hapara, a calculating mind. And that means that when you have a calculating mind, you don't trust that life will provide what you really need, right? That if you live an honest and compassionate life, you think that's not enough. You'll never get what you need that way. You must, forge ahead, win, step on others, and so on. But Shinran warned against that. Our calculating mind makes us feel like we need to be in control. We need to be sure of the outcome, which is really always a delusion, because no one knows what the outcome of anything is, right? It's always a surprise. We always delude ourselves that we know what the best outcome should be. That's another thing, you see. Even if we think we know what the outcome will be of our actions, if I just do this and this, 2 + 2 will certainly equal 4. We don't even know if we need that outcome. That might not even be the outcome we really desire. We think we want it now, but when we get it, it might not be what we really want, right? So sometimes getting what you want is the last thing you want, right? Shinran taught us this, calculating mind, not good, right? We have to let go of that. He reminded us to just trust Amida. Just trust Amida, who is boundless life, boundless compassion, always embraces us just as we are, where we are, and it will bring us where we need to go. One of the readings that we read today, the short in the recitation, was, I have no idea whether I am falling into hell or bound for the Pure Life. And then you responded, all is left to Amida's vow. That is what Shinran taught. That's a really essential idea in Jodo Shinshu. We're not trying to get to the Pure Land. We're not trying to avoid hell or get this place or that place. Everything is left to Amida's vow. And what is Amida's vow? That is life itself. The infinite, inconceivable oneness of life that we're all part of. Right? It's a hard teaching to grasp. That's why it's something we think about and reflect all our life. It's not something, I got it now, I'm all done. Jodo Shinshu really is difficult to understand, even though it's so simple, right? We don't have to do anything complicated. We don't have to sit in meditation for hours and hours or anything. But to grasp this simple peace of mind, right? And acceptance and love and compassion is so difficult, right? To realize that we are loved just as we are. That's hard, right? And we can love others just as they are. That's hard. So, anyway, it's not, to go back, it's not our concern what the outcomes are. That's really the Buddha's business. That's kind of what Shinran taught. We just have to do our best, accepting what life brings, learning to appreciate everything, all aspects of our living. And when we live the life of Nembutsu, much more enjoyable when we let life teach us instead of us trying to control life. If we can get back to our true nature, to a state where we value the simple joy of life, say food and fellowship above hoarded gold, where we support and take pleasure in the happiness of others above our secret wish to triumph and win, and where we are willing to stand up and defend all who suffer injustices and oppression, then all of our suffering, all the suffering we human beings have inflicted on the world will begin to heal, certainly begin to heal. So there's a story that I learned, which is more of a made-up story, I think, but it expresses the paradox of our life, I think, in which we're always running around trying to attain something that we actually already have. And in attaining it, we actually lose it. So here's how the story goes. So there was a vacationing wealthy businessman who was standing on the pier of a quaint coastal fishing village in some poor country. So let's say Mexico, some poor country, right? And he was watching as a small boat with just one young fisherman pulled into the dock. And inside the boat were several large tuna. Enjoying the warmth of the early afternoon sun, the businessman complimented the fisherman on the quality of his fish. "How long did it take you to catch them?" he casually asked. "Oh, only a few hours," the fisherman replied. "Well, why don't you stay out longer and catch more fish?" the businessman wondered. The fisherman warmly replied, "Well, with this I have more than enough to support my family's needs." The businessman then became serious. "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" So the fisherman smiled and said, "Well, you know, I sleep, I play with my children, we go watch ball games, and we all take a siesta in the afternoon. And sometimes in the evening, I take a stroll into the village to see my friends. We drink a little, play the guitar, sing a few songs." The businessman became very impatient, and he said, "Look, I have an MBA from Harvard, and I can help you to be more profitable and successful. What you need is strategic planning and leadership training. You need to set goals and measurable outcomes. Practically speaking, you should start by fishing several hours longer every day. Then you can sell the extra fish you catch. With the extra money, you can buy a bigger boat. With the additional income that larger boat will bring, before long you can buy a second boat, and then a third boat, and on until you have an entire fleet of fishing boats." Proud of his own brilliant thinking, the wealthy businessman excitedly elaborated a grand scheme which could bring even bigger profits. Then, instead of selling your catch to a middleman, you'll be able to sell your fish directly to the processor, or even open your own cannery. Eventually, you could control all the product processing and distribution. You could leave this tiny coastal village and move to a big city where you could live in luxury and further expand your enterprise. Never having even thought of such things before, the fisherman asked, "But how long will all this take?" After some rapid mental calculations, the Harvard MBA businessman pronounced, "Probably about 15 to 20 years, maybe less if you work really hard." "And then what?" asked the fisherman. "Why, that's the best part," answered the businessman with a laugh. When the time is right, you could sell your company stock to the public and become very rich. You would make millions." "Millions? Really? What would I do with all that money?" asked the young fisherman in disbelief. The businessman boasted, "Why, then you could happily retire with all the money you've made. You could move to a nice coastal fishing village where you could sleep, play with your grandchildren, watch ball games, and take siestas. You could stroll to the village in the evening where you could play the guitar, sing with your friends all you want. Wouldn't that be great?" Of course, I realize, and you all know, that the real life of, especially nowadays, of a poor fisherman is not idyllic like it's pictured here. But that's not. But you know what the meaning is, the point is, and it's still true. well-off people can't understand the wealth of having the acceptance of community and the nurturing and the caring and being together with their family and so on. So, of course, the reason that people's lives in a poor fisherman, a simple fisherman's life isn't very nice, or anyone in a poor area, including in our own country, is really the fault of people doing what the fisherman, what the businessman was recommending, all this kind of, calculating machinations. So, but anyway, the point is, it's true, especially if you understand the truth of impermanence, that we can waste our lives trying to accomplish what we already have every day. If we would only take the time to realize what we have, to enjoy it and to appreciate it. And if we take the time to appreciate life, if we have true gratitude, then we can truly make the world better for everyone. So during the difficult time we're living in now, with this pandemic raging around the world, with an environmental crisis that really threatens our future, certainly the next generation's future, anger and conflict replacing kindness and harmony in society, we must all realize the deep importance of our spiritual teachings and strive to live them fully. To be a Buddhist means that we must learn to express the Buddha's infinite compassion for all beings in our everyday living, not just on Sunday, but in our everyday living, through a life of gratitude, and to make the happiness of living beings our fundamental priority. Okay, so, we love our church, but buildings, institutions, rituals, or even words that I'm speaking, that's not Buddhism in and of itself. To be a disciple of the Buddha means to live a life of compassion and to always be aware of the preciousness of each moment of life and of every living thing. So thank you all for joining together today with me for our first in-person Sunday service in a long time. I actually lost track. I couldn't remember the last day. It was March, right? A long time ago. And so let's hope that we'll soon be able to join together again. I hope we can, this will be a kind of a stepping stone that we can create and do this more, maybe at least once a month for now. And eventually, maybe we'll be back to every Sunday, I hope. But I want to also express my deep gratitude to all of you for your continued support of Kahului Hongwanji and helping us to keep this temple alive so that we can continue to share the Dharma with all people. So thank you very much. Let's put our hands together in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Shinshu Pledge. I take my refuge in the vow of the Buddha. Reciting the name, I will live through life with strength and serenity. I revere the light of the Buddha. I will put my effort in my work with self-reflection and gratitude. I follow the teachings of the Buddha. Discerning the right path, I will spread the true Dharma. I rejoice in the compassion of the Buddha. I will respect and help others and do my best for the welfare of humankind. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida
Well, thank you for joining us here today in our YouTube service for O-Higan and Family Gratitude. I hope that this was something meaningful to you, that there was some benefit or insight or good reflection that you were able to take away from today's service. Next week we will have our regular YouTube service as usual, so please join us. And we may be, depending on how things go, we may be bringing back some in-person services, at least maybe once a month, but we have to see how it all goes. But hopefully we will be able to start doing that, and see how things develop. We don't know with this COVID situation whether it will get worse or better, so we just have to do what we can. So following my words, there's going to be a few announcements on text at the end of the video. So please take a look at those if you wish. So in closing, I'd like to ask you to join me in Gasho as I read some words from the homages, which we often recite in the temple service. Even through endless ages, it is hard to hear such true and profound teachings. Now we are fortunate to hear and receive them. Let us seek to understand the Buddhist teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much.